This is a recording of the CSW CDDO Enrollment Counseling, Education, and Informed Consent Training. This training will provide an overview of the Community Support Waiver, discuss CDDO responsibilities related to providing informed consent and education to applicants prior to enrollment, and use some fictional applicant profiles to consider how the CSW can help support people with a range of needs, preferences, and circumstances. Community Support Waiver Status. This presentation was recorded in June 2026. At this time, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, is currently reviewing the CSW application. This presentation covers content included in the CSW application. CMS must approve the CSW before Kansas can implement the waiver. Content included in this presentation could change if CMS requires updates to the waiver application. KDADS will notify stakeholders of any substantive changes to the CSW following CMS review. Annual Service Limit. The CSW has an annual per-person service limit of $20,000. Participants can receive CSW services to address their assessed needs up to that amount. A person who needs fewer than $20,000 in services will have access to services up to the amount that they need. Individuals who need more than $20,000 in services will be able to pick which services they wish to receive up to $20,000. There will be no exceptions to the $20,000 annual per-person service limit. Applicants do not have to prove that they need fewer than $20,000 in services in order to enroll in the CSW. KDADS is empowering individuals to make an informed choice about what is best for them. Who is the CSW right for? The CSW is designed to help people with intellectual and developmental disabilities who do not need 24/7 waiver services live as independently as possible. CSW participants will be able to access services up to $20,000 annually to address unmet service needs and supplement existing natural supports and community resources. KDAD recognizes that the CSW won't be the right fit for everybody. The CSW may be best suited for individuals who need fewer than $20,000 per year in services, those who have access to unpaid or informal supports or other services like through EPSDT, and/or have additional resources that allow for the provision of services and supports outside of the waiver. CDDO responsibilities, informed consent and education. Education and informed consent overview. The CSW has the same eligibility criteria as the IDD waiver. However, the CSW may not be the best choice for every person determined eligible for the waiver. CDDOs are responsible for helping eligible waiver applicants make an informed choice about whether to enroll in the CSW. Appendix B6F of the CSW describes CDDO's responsibilities for providing education and counseling to waiver applicants prior to waiver enrollment. Standardized screening process. CDDOs will use a standardized screening tool to help individuals decide whether to apply for the CSW. The standardized screening process consists of a series of questions related to service needs, including need for out-of-home residential services, expected type and utilization of services, and desire for self-direction. Depending on the outcome of the standardized screening process, the CDDO will then conduct a MIFI assessment on individuals who have not had a level of care assessment in the past 12 months. Waiver education. After conducting the MIFI, the CDDO is responsible for providing applicants with information about the CSW service limit, available services both on the waiver and within the participant's area, whether enrolling in the CSW will affect the individual's status on another waiver or waiver waitlist, and available avenues for transitioning from the CSW to other waiver programs. The CDDO must obtain a signature from the individual or their representative indicating that this information was provided prior to enrolling in the waiver. Waiver and waitlist transitions. Individuals on the IDD waiver or IDD waiver waitlist who wish to transition to the CSW will not be able to return to their prior spot on the IDD waiver or waitlist if the CSW is not a good fit. Individuals will be removed from the IDD waiver waitlist when they enroll in the CSW. CSW participants who wish to transition or return to the IDD waiver will go to the bottom of the waitlist unless they qualify for reserved capacity or crisis enrollment. Informed decision making. CDDOs will help individuals make an informed choice about whether to enroll on the CSW based on a number of factors, including anticipated service needs and applicants' goals, presence and stability of unpaid informal support services, ability and willingness to pay for additional non-waiver services to supplement CSW services, current status on the IDD waiver or IDD waiver waitlist, and the availability of providers for needed services in the individual's area. We're now going to consider some examples of fictional CSW applicants to consider how each person might be able to benefit from the community support waiver. For this activity, we'll practice applying knowledge of the CSW by reviewing sample fictional applicant profiles and consider who would benefit from the CSW. We're going to share a few sample applicant profiles and talk through each one. For each example, you'll consider what services the person could get on the CSW, whether the CSW could help the person achieve their goals, if the CSW would supplement any existing services or supports, and the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus remaining or enrolling on the IDD waiver or waitlist. The first example is Stephen, a 22-year-old living at home with his parents. Stephen and his parents live together in their house in Newton. Stephen is independent in most of his daily tasks, like getting dressed and brushing his teeth. He needs some assistance with instrumental activities of daily living, like going to the store and engaging in recreation. Stephen wants to live independently in the future, and he needs assistance developing life skills related to independent living, financial management, and health and wellness. He also wants to explore employment opportunities. Stephen has been on the wait list for the IDD waiver for 1 year, and he's not sure if it makes more sense for him to remain on the IDD waiver waitlist or enroll in the CSW. Is the CSW a good fit for Stephen? You can pause this training to consider the following questions. Which CSW services could Stephen benefit from? How could the CSW help Stephen accomplish his goals? Would the CSW supplement any existing or available natural or unpaid supports or privately paid services? And what are the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus remaining on the IDD waiver waitlist? What services could Stephen get? We've created one example year of services for Stephen. This is just one possibility of the services that he could receive. We know that Stephen wants to explore employment, which makes him a good candidate for career exploration and planning. We also know that he wants to build skills related to independent living, like financial management, health and wellness, things like that, which can fall under life skill services. Finally, we know that he needs some assistance with IADLs, which could be provided through personal care services. The CSW would be able to supplement support he currently receives from his parents. For an estimated cost of just under $19,000, Stephen could receive 2 hours a week of career exploration and planning, 3 hours a week of life skill services, and 3 hours a week of personal care services. And the math here I have on the screen, showing how we got here. And of course, I'll note that I made some assumptions, including that he got each service every single week, which is probably a little bit unlikely. But to get these numbers, we just multiplied the hourly rate, so $72 for career exploration and planning, by the number of units per week, by the number of weeks in a year. I'll note too that personal care services is a service that Stephen could choose to self-direct or get from an agency, and if he were to self-direct that service, he would be able to select a rate within the state's established rate range, and that would allow him to potentially receive more hours of personal care services per year while remaining within his $20,000 annual budget limit. Because Stephen hasn't been on the IDD waiver wait list for very long, it may take many years before he is able to enroll in the IDD waiver. Giving up his spot on the IDD waiver wait list is a big decision and may not necessarily be the best choice for him. But Stephen might prefer the immediate access to services available for him if he chooses to enroll in the CSW. Additionally, because he has been on the wait list for some time, he will qualify for priority enrollment into the CSW. Next, we have Erica, a 35-year-old living semi-independently. Erica lives by herself in an apartment in Lenexa, and her family lives close by. She has worked 8 hours a week in an office nearby for the last 7 months, and she wants to work more hours and could use support building professional skills to enable her to increase her responsibilities at work. She relies on her sister for help managing tasks related to independent living, like apartment upkeep and money management, but her sister is starting a new job soon and won't be available to help her as much. Erica doesn't drive and also relies on her sister for help getting around town. Erica is not currently receiving any waiver services, and she is not on the wait list for the IDD waiver. Is the CSW a good fit for Erica? You can pause this training to consider the following questions. Which CSW services could Erica get within the $20,000 annual limit? How would the CSW help Erica accomplish her goals? Would the CSW supplement any existing or available natural or unpaid supports and/or privately paid services? And what are the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus joining the IDD waiver waitlist? What services could Erica get? Here again, we have just one example of the services that Erica could receive. We know that Erica wants to increase the number of hours that she works, which makes her a good candidate for individual employment support services. I'll note that individual employment support services has 3 different rates depending on how long the participant has been on the job. Because Erica has worked at her current job for 7 months, she could pay the ongoing rate for this service, which is $36 an hour. In this case, we're imagining that Erica could receive individual employment support services for 6 months or so, and that amount of time might enable her to reach her goal of working additional hours, at which point she could stop receiving IES services. Additionally, she could receive 2 hours a week of life skill services for 50 weeks a year, and she could get 10 miles a week of non-medical transportation, bringing her total yearly spend to $18,558. Erica is not currently on the IDD waiver waitlist. Although she would not be able to benefit from priority enrollment onto the CSW, she may still be able to enroll in the CSW if space is available. The CSW might be a good fit for Erica, as she would have access to services far sooner than if she were to get on the IDD waiver waitlist. The CSW would be able to supplement some support she gets from her family members and help her maintain her independence and her employment, given that her sister will be less available to help her in the future. Next we have Daniel, a 32-year-old with high support needs. Daniel has lived with his brother Fred and his sister-in-law Audra in their house in Salina since their parents died a few years ago. He needs assistance with toileting, eating, and personal hygiene. Fred provides most of this support, but Fred would like to return to working full-time, and he has been looking into hiring a direct support professional to provide care to Daniel while Fred and Audra are at work. Fred and Audra are wondering whether the CSW could supplement both the unpaid care that they provide and the paid care purchased privately. Daniel has been on the wait list for the IDD waiver for the last 5 years. Is the CSW a good fit for Daniel? You can pause this training to consider the following questions. Which CSW services could Daniel get within the $20,000 annual limit? How could the CSW help Daniel accomplish his goals? Would the CSW supplement any existing or available natural, unpaid supports and/or privately paid services? And what are the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus remaining on the IDD waiver waitlist? What services could Daniel get? For an estimated yearly cost of nearly $20,000, Daniel could receive 19 hours a week of personal care services. This would help Daniel supplement support he is receiving from his brother and sister-in-law, as well as enable his brother and sister-in-law to return to working full-time. Additionally, Daniel's family can privately pay for some additional support outside of the waiver, which would help address needs Daniel may have that exceed $20,000. Daniel would benefit from priority enrollment onto the CSW. However, giving up his spot on the IDD waiver waitlist, given that he has been on the waitlist for years, is a big choice. It will be helpful for him and his family to meet with the CDDO to discuss Daniel's long-term goals and whether immediate access to services on the CSW is worth potential forgoing access to the comprehensive IDD waiver in the next few years. Next we have Kai, a 9-year-old receiving EPSDT benefits. Kai and his mom and sister live in Winfield. As a child with a disability, Kai has been able to access occupational, behavioral, and speech therapy through early and periodic screening, diagnostic, and treatment benefits. His mom and other relatives also help take care of him when he is not in school. However, it is sometimes challenging for Kai's mom to find someone to take care of him when she has to run errands, and she worries that she isn't able to give Kai's sister as much attention as she needs. Kai's mom is wondering if the CSW would be a good fit for Kai, or if it would be better for him to get on the wait list for the IDD waiver now. Is the CSW a good fit for Kai? You can pause this training to consider the following questions. Which CSW services could Kai get within the $20,000 annual limit? How could the CSW help Kai accomplish his goals? Would the CSW supplement any existing or available natural or unpaid supports and or privately paid for supports? And what are the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus joining the IDD waiver waitlist? What services could Kai get? For an estimated yearly cost of $9,630, Kai could receive 5 hours a week of respite and 1 hour a week of family caregiver support and training for his mom. The CSW could supplement services Kai is currently getting through EPSDT. Additionally, the proposed services here take up less than half of the total maximum budget. If Kai has other needs, it is possible additional CSW services could be authorized to meet them. Next we have Tara, a 40-year-old living with aging caregivers. Tara lives with her parents in Topeka, and she needs daily support with personal care needs including eating and bathing, transferring from her bed to a wheelchair. Her parents provide most of her care, but they are not sure how long they are going to be able to provide the 24/7 support that she requires. Tara has been on the wait list for the IDD waiver for 6 years. Is the CSW a good fit for Tara? You can pause this training to consider these questions. Which CSW services could Tara get within the $20,000 annual limit? How could the CSW help Tara accomplish her goals? Would the CSW supplement any existing or available natural unpaid supports and or privately paid for supports? And what are the benefits of enrolling in the CSW versus remaining on the IDD waiver waitlist? The CSW might not be a good fit for Tara given her support needs. However, Tara could receive one or more of the following: up to 19 hours a week of personal care services for a total of $19,918, and again that's based on the agency rate, so it's possible if she were self-directing her services, she could access additional hours at a lower rate. 14 hours a week of respite, and the same goes, that if she were self-directing that service, she could receive perhaps additional hours of respite if she were paying a lower rate. She could also consider a home and environmental modification services bid to improve the physical accessibility of her house and increase Tara's independence in activities like bathing and transferring. Tara's needs may be greater than what can be provided for her on the CSW. Although she would benefit from priority enrollment onto the CSW, given the length of time that she has been on the IDD waiver and her level of need, she may be better off waiting for access to the IDD waiver. It sounds like Tara's family may not be able to continue providing 24/7 care for long, and her ability to access the IDD waiver in the next few years may be especially important. Given that, it will be very important for Tara and her family to meet with the CDDO to discuss the pros and cons of enrolling in the CSW versus remaining on the IDD waiver waitlist. This concludes this recorded presentation of the CDDO responsibilities related to education and informed consent. If you want to reach out or you have any questions, you can email kdads at kdads.csw@ks.gov. Thank you so much for listening.